If you will turn to page 7 and 8, while I'm talking through some of this stuff, I need y'all to copy this on page 8. So this is on page 8 of your composition book. It should be next to the lesson 3 solving systems. Okay, so we will be discussing lesson 3. This is the word problems. So basically, I'm going to show you how to set up the equations for each of these. And you've actually done this, but it's only been with one equation. So now this time, it's 2 equations that you're going to have to set up for. So here's some key things that you need to know or remember. So these are all things that you should have seen at some point so far in your schooling. D is equal to rate times time. That's just distance is equal to rate times time. The area of a rectangle or a square, really this is the rectangle, which is length times width. And then you have perimeter, and you actually have 2 different equations for perimeter. You have 2L plus 2W, or you can have 2 times the length plus width. If you were to distribute it out, that's the equation that you would get. So basically that's that part. Okay, so if you need more time, pause. If not, let's go ahead and move on. Okay, now we're talking about other phrases that you need to know. So these are some things that you may have forgotten, especially this part down here, the switch words. So here, money goes with money. And when I do the examples, it'll make a little bit more sense what I mean with money goes with money. So the value of coins will go with the dollar amount. The number or the cost of tickets will go with the amount of money that you spent. So again, we'll go over that in more detail. Okay, so this next part is whatever is mentioned first equals what comes next. And again, I'll go into detail what that means. But usually if you have something like the length is 2 times the width, well, the length is mentioned first, so it would be L equals whatever comes next. So again, I'll go into detail about that. Okay, so switch words, we talked about this early on. These are the words that if you have the word less than, greater than, fewer, or from, you switch the 2 numbers. So if you had 5 fewer than X, then it would be X minus 5, because you would switch those words. Originally, it was 5 less than X, but then you have to switch them, and this is what it would become. So again, we'll go into detail about all of these. If you need more time, please pause. If not, let's go to page 7. I actually just took out page 7, but yours should be glued in. This will help me be able to write a little bit better. So hopefully you got all that information. It'll help you with what we're doing. Okay, so let's take a look at lesson 3. So you have a boy has 25 coins in his piggy bank, consisting of only nickels or dimes and quarters. The total value of coins is $3.25. How much of each type of coin does he have? Okay, so usually your EOC will define the things for you, but it didn't here, so we're going to say that X is the number of dimes, and this is the number of quarters. And yes, I left out the word of, but that's okay. So you were asked to pick up, or you should have picked up, highlighters. If you didn't, pause the video and get the highlighters, and then you can continue after everybody's gotten highlighters. Okay, so here is what I need you to know. So from this equation right here, or this sentence, that they have 25 coins, that's an equation that we're going to be able to pull from. Now it also says that the total value of coins is $3.25. So again, money goes with money. This is one of the things that I was talking about. So I can't show you all of this at the same time, unfortunately. It doesn't zoom out for me like that, but hopefully you guys can see what I'm writing at the same time. Okay, so this is saying that he has 25 total coins. Well, what were the 2 coins that he had? Well, they were dimes and quarters. So we would say that the number of dimes, and if you'll remember, the word total is plus. So he had quarters and dimes, or dimes and quarters, and that was 25. So this is where it might confuse you on this one, because it doesn't necessarily say how much a dime is worth and how much a quarter is worth, but you should know that a dime is 0.10 and a quarter is 0.25. So if you look, this is saying that the value of the coins are $3, or is $3.25. So we're going to take the value of the dime plus the value of the quarter, and we're going to make that equal to the value that was given. So $3.25. Oh, and I used D and Q. Let me change that to X and Y. Sorry. I forgot the Y on this one. Okay, so just in case, that was my mistake. We had to make sure that we're using the same variables that we assigned. Okay, so what I do now is I take this first equation. So our next step tells us to solve the system on the calculator. So remember, in order to do that, you have to solve for y first. So move the x, change the sign, divide by the number in front of the y. Don't forget to simplify. So that's what it's looking for. So here are my 2 equations. Now I'm going to solve them both for y. Okay, so I'm going to move the x, change its sign, divide by the number in front of the y. Well, there's no number in front of the y. So my first equation, I'm going to put y1, is 25 minus x. So on this next one, I got to do a little bit more math on this one. So I'm going to move the 0.10 to a negative 0.10. And then I'm going to divide everything by 0.25. Now, I'm going to show you all a shortcut on this. The calculator doesn't make you simplify from here. So we're actually not going to simplify, which is very different from what we've been doing because we've needed to simplify. So if it's not asking for the equation exactly, you don't have to simplify. So here it's not asking for the equation, it's asking for the numbers of things. So I didn't simplify. So now I'm going to get my calculator and I'm going to put this in the calculator. So I'm going to type it. I'm going to give you some time to finish this up if you haven't already. So I'm typing in these 2 equations while hopefully y'all are writing this down, or hopefully you're putting it in the calculator if you're already done. Okay, so this is what your calculator should look like in Y1, Y2. I will remind you that you can just press alpha y equals. I'll show you on this one. Alpha y equals brings up the fraction, but we don't need that one on there, so I deleted it. So alpha y equals will bring up the fraction. Okay, so from here, we're going to press graph. We're going to make sure that we can see this intersection. So since we can't see the intersection, if you can see this little movement here, it was saying that it was still working. I can't see anything, so I have to press the zoom, and I need to zoom out. So I need to press the number 3. Now here's what you remember that you have to do. You have to press enter. Let the little yellow thing work. You'll know it's done graphing when this little yellow thing stops spinning. Okay? I can see the intersection now. So now I'm going to press second trace 5, and then we're going to enter 3 times. So here's our intersection. So remember, that's the word that we're looking for. So X is 20 and Y is 5. So X is 20 and Y is 5. So if you'll remember from up here, we said that the X's were dimes and the Y's were the quarters. So this is saying dimes and quarters. And I'm just going to put the Q for quarters. So to finish this off, we would say that he has 20 dimes and 5 quarters. Now some of y'all can figure that out without having to do any math work. Now what I would tell you or ask you to do to make sure that you've done this correctly is actually putting it in checking your work. Okay, if I were to add those two numbers, it gives me 25. If I take the value of a dime and multiply it by 20 and the value of a quarter and multiply it by 5, it gets me the 325 that I needed. Okay, so this covers the part that you should need in your composition book. Remember, I do grade these at the end of the unit. We have one more lesson after today. Just make sure that you have everything up to date. So the next thing that we'll be doing is we'll be working on the worksheet that you should have been given or someone passed out to you, which is the lesson 3, and we're going to talk about that on the next video.